I knew the damage was done the instant our eyes met. The room pulsed with chatter, laughter spilling over clinking glasses, music weaving softly through the air. It was supposed to be a night of victory. My company had just secured the biggest contract in its history, and my boss had insisted on celebrating. Across the crowded space, Daniel, my husband, was speaking with one of my colleagues. His posture was relaxed, his smile calm, the look of a man quietly proud, someone who carried his love without needing to flaunt it. And then I faltered. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't premeditated. But it felt like betrayal all the same. When Robert, my boss, leaned in far too close and murmured something slick in my ear, my skin crawled. I should have stepped back. I should have made it clear. Instead, I froze. A laugh slipped out. Not because I found him amusing, but because nerves stole my sense. His palm brushed the small of my back, and for a heartbeat, I didn't move. That single pause was enough. When I finally looked up, Daniel was watching. The warmth in his eyes drained away in an instant. The glass in his hand tilted slightly under the chandelier's glow, and for one terrible moment, I thought he might let it crash to the floor. Our gazes locked, sharp, cold, unspoken, and everything between us shifted in that single breath. The drive home was torture. Daniel's knuckles whitened against the steering wheel, his jaw clenched so tight it looked painful. I tried to speak, to explain, but the words tasted weak, insincere. Daniel, please, it wasn't what you think. Silence. He kept his focus on the road, headlights cutting into the night. My voice cracked in a whisper. Say something. His answer came at last, quiet but steady, and it cut deeper than shouting ever could. I saw enough, Claire. The days that followed were worse than anything I had braced myself for. Daniel didn't scream. He didn't accuse. He didn't demand answers. Instead, he retreated. Nights on the couch, empty dinners, unread messages. He walked through the house as if the air itself weighed him down. When I tried to explain, he looked at me with a devastation so silent it broke me more than fury ever could. Again and again, I replayed the party in my head, tormenting myself with why. Why hadn't I pulled away? Why had I laughed when every fiber of me felt uncomfortable? Robert had always been bold, crossing lines under the guise of charm, but I told myself it was just arrogance. I never thought it would unravel my marriage. 2 weeks later, the silence finally cracked. I was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables, my hands trembling from the quiet that had stretched too long. When Daniel set his coffee cup down gently, his voice was low, but the weight behind it nearly made me drop the knife. Do you love him? I froze. What? Daniel, no, it wasn't like that. His expression stayed unreadable. Then what was it? Because I've spent night after night asking myself if my life has been a lie. You let him touch you. You laughed like I didn't exist. Tears blurred my vision. It was a mistake. Not what you think. I swear. He didn't raise his voice, didn't argue. He just looked at me, the silence suffocating. Finally, he shook his head, eyes glistening but steady. Do you know what it felt like, standing there, watching my wife lean into another man? Even if it was only for a second, everyone saw it. That broke me. I covered my face with my hands, sobbing, knowing apologies were too thin to patch the hole I'd torn through his trust. I braced myself for the worst, for him to leave, for the slam of the front door. But then one night he didn't retreat to the couch. He came into our room, sitting on the edge of the bed. His voice was raw, stripped down. I don't want to lose us. But I can't erase it. I can't pretend it never happened. My heart thudded painfully. Then tell me how to fix it. Please. Tell me what to do. For the first time since that night, I saw Daniel exposed, vulnerable, torn between love and pain. Earn it back, he said. Show me I matter more than your boss. Prove to me I'm the one you choose, every single time. That was when the slow, agonizing work began. I resigned. The decision gutted me. Years of dedication abandoned. But I couldn't stay tethered to the place where everything had cracked. Daniel never asked me to quit. But I knew I couldn't rebuild what I'd destroyed if Robert remained anywhere near our lives. I blocked his number, cut off every thread, and poured myself into my marriage with whatever pieces I had left. It wasn't seamless. Some mornings Daniel left without a word. Some nights he looked at me, and I could see that moment at the party still haunting his mind. But there were glimmers, his hand brushing mine at the dinner table, his voice softening just before sleep. I clung to those moments, giving back as much as I could, even when doubt gnawed at me. Months later, another gathering came, this time with Daniel's friends. I almost refused. The thought of crowded rooms, of eyes watching, of memories resurfacing, it all made me want to hide. But Daniel shook his head gently. We can't hide forever. So I went. I stayed close, my hand never leaving his, laughed at his stories, paid no one else a fraction of my attention. When the music slowed, he turned to me. Dance with me, he whispered, pulling me into his arms. As we swayed, he leaned close, his words brushing against my ear. This is what I needed. To know I'm still the one you choose. Tears pricked hot at the corners of my eyes. I buried my face in his shoulder, whispering, I'll always choose you, Daniel. Always. Forgiveness didn't come overnight. The scar remained, etched into us both as a reminder of how fragile trust can be. But piece by piece, a bridge was rebuilt. Not perfect, not whole, but strong enough to carry us forward. And through it all, one truth stayed with me. Daniel chose to stay. He chose to fight for us when I had given him every reason to walk away. And that gift, the grace of a second chance, I will never take for granted.